They said the empire was built on gold, and now the headlines say the stories unfold. Flashing lights, courtroom rows, silence loud, and the pressure grows. From Harlem streets to the Forbes list, now he's sitting where the storm hits. Cameras on, but who's legit? Truth and lies in the same script. Diddy defense team got 8 on the move. Agnafilo, Jarago, Shapiro, Steele, Donaldson, Westmoreland, Estavo and Driscoll. The feds got him on 5 charges. They say he on that RICO. Media says he is guilty out the gate. 8 male jurors and 4 women hold his fate. No cameras allowed in the court. Content creators screaming more, more, more. Diamonds heavy, but the weight's not cash. Every step watched through the media flash. Friends turn foes and the past don't pass. When receipts get pulled and they come in stacks. Official transcripts will show the full story. Full statements, but the details may be gold. They wanna put me on trial, put my name on file. Want me to hang it up, but that ain't my style. Say I'm back on road, no hand on Bible. We got this game in a chokehold. Yeah, I'm so cold. My whole career they tried to test me and I aced it. When you want something done, you gotta go and get it. Hate to put you on blast, but it's not up for debate. When the odds stacked against me, victims' names not being used to keep from getting approached by the accused. Kanye showing up in white, saying Diddy fight, fight. What's legacy when it's on the line? Is the name you built still gonna shine? Or does silence scream like a warning sign while the world debates guilt or crime? Every empire's got a tale untold. Every mogul's got nights cold. But behind closed doors, who holds control? Truth is a mirror and it never folds. Spotlight shadows can't outrun fate. Every crown's heavy when it's tied to the state. From the charts to the court, it's a razor blade. Walking the edge that the headlines made. Did the feds charge Diddy for his crimes, or just some for some freak off good times? Baby oil galore, but the feds say there is much more. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty. This will be left to the 12 on the jury committee. Is this a RICO, or just a man being major sicko? Was he really the king or just a fling? Did he do what they say? Will NYC jail be where he will stay? Did he bop in the hotels on the top floors? Different bows in different area codes. Some would call them the defense saying evidence is a blur. Some witnesses concur. Will the bad boy for life be serving life, or will he get the win and be in the next jet to Berlin? Spotlight shadows can't outrun fate. Every crown's heavy when it's tied to the state. From the charts to the court, it's a razor blade. Walking the edge that the headlines made. The devil is in the details. While the world debates guilt or crime, is it RICO or freak off?
Diddy says he is love, love, love.
They said the empire was built on gold, and now the headlines say the stories unfold. Flashing lights, courtroom rows, silence loud, and the pressure grows. From Harlem streets to the Forbes list, now he's sitting where the storm hits. Cameras on, but who's legit? Truth and lies in the same script. Diddy defense team got 8 on the move. Agnafilo, Jarago, Shapiro, Steele, Donaldson, Westmoreland, Estavo and Driscoll. The feds got him on 5 charges. They say he on that RICO. Media says he is guilty out the gate. 8 male jurors and 4 women hold his fate. No cameras allowed in the court. Content creators screaming more, more, more. Diamonds heavy, but
Yeah, I'm telling you, Diddy got to get this song when he comes out, and I got to tell him, hey, you got to sign CMT to your label. You got to sign CMT to your label. Hey, Sean. Good afternoon, Sean. How are you? I watched you today. Well, anyway, guys, I told you guys I was going to come back. If it was more information to bring you guys, I'm going to bring it to you this afternoon. Well, y'all, I was laying down, now my hair's all over the place. I was laying down and then something popped up on my computer. Got a couple of emails, a couple of messages, and then I was like, I went on to the Pacers and I saw some more stuff. I said, let me bring it to the people. First, I want to tell you that the judge just gave the okay for Diddy to be able to um, have his regular clothes on. Not this. We don't want to show this yet. We don't want to show that yet. No, not yet, not yet, not yet. The judge give the okay for him to be able to have his regular clothes on. And this is it right here. Diddy is able to wear his regular clothing. He says, and also, wait a minute, was it the clothing? I did the clothing. Did I do the clothing earlier? I think I did. But well, anyway, this is for them to be able to bring out the video, the video that the defense team is going to bring out for Diddy on tomorrow. So the video will be shown. They will be allowed to see the video. Okay, so the video will be shown. There's a 15-minute video that is going to be shown in the courtroom. So when we listen to Inner City Press, you should be able, not listen, see his tweet. You should be able to see what that video is all about. It's going to be a 15-minute video that will be played during the sentencing hearing. Okay, so the judge just approved the video, and he said for them to have it to them by 5 o'clock. So I believe they have already submitted it to the prosecution and to the judge by 5 o'clock today, because this was done yesterday. Okay, so that's on that. All right, and then Diddy's team has submitted additional information on the sentencing memorandum. So I am not going to read all of it right now, but I will read it later on. But I want to get to Diddy's letter first. But this is the sentencing memorandum that Diddy's team added on to this. I'm telling you, they are not playing. Replying to sentencing memorandum on behalf of Sean Combs, they replied to the government. So they are not playing. And look at this. They have so much case law. Look at this. Look at all of these case laws they put in here. Look. Y'all see all of this case law? Look. Look at this. You see this? You see all this case law? Look. They are not playing. The statutes that's being affected. And look. Black Law Dictionary, more case law. They even put in Robert H. Jackson, the federal prosecutor case in here. Sentencing Commission on here as well, the amended commission for sentencing. And then they have the sentencing transcript. They have that from a case. They have another sentencing script. I mean, look at this. They are not joking. They are off the chain. Okay, so I'm gonna read that after Diddy's letter. So I'm gonna and not show this, but I'm gonna go straight to Diddy's letter. You guys ready? You ready? Okay, here's Diddy letter. I almost started crying when I saw his letter. Seriously, I felt it. I felt the letter. This is his letter, y'all, and I'm going to read it to you guys. It was very it was very it was moving. I felt it. I felt his sincerity. I felt him taking accountability, taking responsibility for his action. And I really, really commend him for being a stand-up man and acknowledging the wrong that he has done. And how much do you want a person to go through, you know? You know, but let me go ahead and read this letter to you guys. And I'm gonna take my time in reading this. Yes, please hit the like button. Please, we should have 60 likes in here because I've been bringing you guys the information, okay? Hey, Uptown Romeo. Hey, hey, hey. I've been bringing you guys. How do you feel if you are in a different room? You're in a different room? How do you feel if you were in a different room? I don't know what that got. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means, but okay. Listen, y'all. All the smart remarks that are gonna come in here. If y'all, let's not do the hard smart remark, okay? Let's not do the smart remark today, okay? I'm just bringing you information. Keep your smart comment to yourself, okay? All right, here we go. October 2nd, 2025. Dear Judge, I hope this letter finds you well and in good health and spirits. Thank you for the opportunity to express my thoughts to you. First and foremost, I want to apologize and say how sincerely sorry I am for the hurt and pain that I have caused others by my conduct. I take full responsibility and accountability for my past wrongs. This has been the hardest 2 years of my life, and I have no one to blame for my current reality and situation but myself. In my life, I have made many mistakes, but I am no longer running from them. I am sorry for the hurt that I I caused. But I understand that the mere words I'm sorry will never be good enough, as these words alone cannot erase the pain from the past. Over the past 13 months, I have had to look in the mirror like never before. My pain became my teacher. My sadness was my motivator. I have to admit, my downfall was rooted in my selfishness. The scene and images of me assaulting Cassie played over and over in my head daily. I literally lost my mind. I was dead wrong for putting my hands on the woman I loved. I'm sorry that for that and always will be. My domestic violence will always be a heavy burden that I will have to forever carry. The remorse, the sorrow, the regret, the disappointment, the shame. I honestly feel sorry for something that I couldn't forgive someone else for if they put their hands on one of my daughters. This is why it is so hard for me to forgive myself. It is like a deep wound that leaves an ugly scar. Your Honor, I thought I was providing for Jane concerning her and her child. But after hearing her testimony, I realized that I hurt her. For this reason, I am deeply sorry. I lost my way. I got lost in my journey, lost in the drugs and the excess. My downfall was rooted in my selfishness. I have been humbled and broken to my core. Jail is designed to break you mentally, physically, and spiritually. Over the past year, there have been so many times I wanted to give up. There have been some days I thought I would be better off dead. The old me died in jail, and a new version of me was reborn. Prison will change you or kill you. I choose to live. Every day since my incarceration, as difficult as my circumstances currently are, I have made the best of my time by reading books, writing, working out, and in therapy, obtaining the tools and knowledge to deal with my past drug abuse and anger issues. I have been putting in the work and working diligently to become the best version of myself to ensure that I never make the same mistakes again. I realize that I am in a situation where no amount of money, power, or fame can save me. Only God can save me. My grandmother used to teach me that God makes no mistakes and that everything he does is for your good. I believe that a bad situation can be used for good. Although this situation has been the hardest and the darkest time in my life, good things have come out of my incarceration. For starters, I am now sober for the first time in 25 years. I have been trying my best to deal with my drug abuse and anger issues and take accountability as well as positive steps towards healing. One of the most beautiful things I have experienced is being asked by my fellow inmates to teach and mentor them. They wanted to learn what I did to become successful businessman. I was inspired by their hunger and desire to learn information in order to not only set goals, but to achieve any goals, dream that their hearts desire. I started teaching a 6-week program called Free Game, title given by my fellow inmate, which I was able to have approved and sanctioned by the Bureau of Prisons, BOP. I don't just teach about my success. I also teach about my mistakes and failures. It has truly been a blessing to do something positive in a negative situation. It has been beautiful to see the newfound hope from my fellow inmates' eyes. The most shocking thing was to see the unity and the peace this class has produced. As you are probably aware, jails and prison are segregated place places. However, in our class, we have black, Spanish, white, and Asian all together in one room, learning and working together. We have we even have one interpreter for the Spanish speaking inmates. The biggest miracle that I've seen with this class is all the gangs such as Bloods, Crips, MS-13S, Trinitarios, and 18th Street in one room working together. I am also proud to say that since this class started, there have been no fights in our unit. This class has also helped me in my time of need and desperate despair. Being able to do something good for others has also given me much needed hope. God blessed me with this opportunity to help others, and I will continue to do so. I ask you for mercy today, not only for my sake, but for the sake of my children. God bless me with 7 beautiful children, 3 sons and 4 daughters. Their names are Quincy, Justin, Christian, Chance, Jesse, Delilah, and the newest addition, a 2-year-old daughter, Love. 4 of my children lost their mother, Kim Porter, as she tragically passed away in 2018. I am their only parent. I have failed my children as a father. My father was murdered when I was 3 years old, so I know firsthand what it is not to have a father. More than anything, I just want the opportunity to return home and be the father they need and deserve. God also blessed me with the greatest mother in the world. My mother sacrificed her life and dreams to provide for me and my younger sister, Keisha. She worked 3 jobs to make sure we had a roof over our heads, clothes on our backs, and the best education. My mother is now 84 years old, and she recently had brain surgery. Despite her own health challenges, she attended my trial every day. I have always been her primary caregiver. It breaks my heart that I put myself in this situation for the first time. I am unable to be there for my mother when she needs me the most. As I write you this letter, I am scared to death. Scared to spend another second away from my mother and my children. I no longer care about money or the fame. There's nothing more important to me than my family. I understand that one factor the court has to consider is deterrence. Deterrence for me and for others to ensure that no one follows in my footsteps and make the same mistakes. For over a year, I have been locked up in one room for 25 with 25 other incarcerated people, sharing the one room. In this room that I share, there are no windows. There are no clean air, natural clean air. There's no sunlight. We all live in one room. We eat, sleep, use the toilet, take the showers, and prepare meal all in the same room. The conditions that my action has placed me in are inhumane. I don't tell you this for pity or sympathy. I am simply sharing my truth and the truth of my fellow incarcerated people. I have no clean drinking water. We boil our drinking water. We all share one washing machine, which is broken. I am surrounded by drugs and live every day with the constant threat of being stabbed or losing my life. Again, I'm not expecting pity or sympathy, but my time at NDC has changed me forever. Prior to being in jail, I took care of and was present for my family. Being in jail and because of my conduct, I lost the ability to care for my mother. I lost the ability to effectively raise and support my children. I have missed 3 of my daughters' proms and graduations. I have missed taking one of my daughters to college. I have lost the freedom of teaching my 2-year-old how to speak, dance, play, and be there to console her when she falls down or has a nightmare. I started from nothing and worked hard to earn everything I had. But because of my conduct, I have lost all of my businesses. I have lost my career. I have lost the charter schools that I started that destroyed I have destroyed my reputation and stained the reputation of those that work with me. I lost my being present with my family. Between all of my losses and lessons, I can state that for a fact that I will never be in a criminal court again. I do not believe in any other I do not believe any other person would do anything similar for fear of similar punishment. If you give me a chance, I would take I would like the opportunity to share my story with people to prevent at least one person from making the mistake that I have made. I can't change the past, but I can change the future. I know that God put me here to transform me. This incarceration, I have gone through a spiritual reset. I'm on a journey that will take time and hard work. I'm proud to say I am working hard than I ever have before. I am committed to the journey of remaining a drug-free, nonviolent, and peaceful person. I thank God that I am stronger, wiser, clean, clear, and sober. God makes no mistake, and I realize that this trial has received tremendous amount of global press. And Your Honor, may I be inclined to make an example out of me. I would ask Your Honor to make me an example of what a person can do if you afford them a second chance. If you allow me to go home to my family, I promise I will not let you down and I will make you proud. Today, I humbly ask you for another chance to be a better father, another chance to be a better son, another chance to be a better leader in my community, another chance to live a better life. I am writing this not to gain your sympathy or pity. This experience is simply the truth of my existence and has changed my life forever, and I will never commit a crime again. Thank you for your time and consideration. Sean Combs. Oh my God, y'all. Now you see what I'm talking about? Oh, I gotta play this healing song for a second. Just hold on a second, y'all.
Healing is ours, to God be the glory. Positive vibes guaranteed with these healing affirmations. Start your day with a positive mindset and fill your heart with love and gratitude, helping you to overcome self-doubt, anxiety, and negativity. Repeat these affirmations daily to attract positive energy, manifest your dreams, and live a happier, healthier life. Healing is ours, to God be the glory. Positive vibes guaranteed with these healing affirmations. Start your day with a positive mindset, and fill your heart with love and gratitude, helping you to overcome self-doubt, anxiety, and negativity. Repeat these affirmations daily to attract positive energy, manifest your dreams, and live a happier, healthier life. Healing is ours, to God be the glory. Positive vibes guaranteed with these healing affirmations. Start your day with a positive mindset, and fill your heart with love and gratitude, helping you to overcome self-doubt, anxiety, and negativity. Repeat these affirmations daily to attract positive energy, manifest your dreams, and live a happier, healthier life. Healthier life. Repeat these affirmations daily to attract positive energy, manifest your dreams, and live a happier, healthier life. Healthier life. Healing is ours, to God be the glory. Positive vibes guaranteed with these healing affirmations. Start your day with a positive mindset. Fill your heart with love and gratitude, helping you to overcome self-doubt, anxiety, and negativity. Repeat these affirmations daily to attract positive energy, manifest your dreams, and live a happier, healthier life.
Anybody that's putting any negative comments in the chat, I am deleting it. I have just deleted somebody's comment. You're entitled to feel the way you feel, but in this chat right now, please keep those comments to yourself or find another chat to go to. I truly believe Diddy being away from family have broken him for a better. I pray God forgives him and his past. God will forgive him if he asks for forgiveness. God, that's one thing about God. He is a forgiving God, especially if you're saying from your heart. And I believe that this man has repented, and I believe that he has accepted the hurt. He has taken accountability, and he's taken responsibility for the hurt he has put some of these people through. He's definitely a changed man, and I don't understand that people don't believe there are people when people change when they want to change, and definitely Mr. Sean Combs wants to change. He wants to change. He has a lot to live for. He wants to change. And I don't think it's just a person that's in jail talk, because there are a lot of people who have been to prison who have came out powerful and have made a lot of changes in their lives and as well as other people's lives. So there are people who do go to jail and they do come back out a better person. And there are some people who are repeated offenders. Of course, there are some of those. But I believe that this man here definitely has that strong will and will do better, and he has the resources to do better. And I believe him. I watched him, y'all. I watched him in the courtroom. So, and there are people gonna believe whatever they're gonna believe. That's on you. That's on you for not believing. But I believe God has changed the heart of this man. I believe that. And when a man could put these words on paper like this, when a man could put these words on paper, I know my best ability to express myself is in writing. And for him to put this in writing and for the world to see, and he knows the world is watching. So, as Miss Rosie said, please play that song again. It explains everything. Which song? Which song are you talking about? The healing one? I believe so too, intelligent hoodlum. I believe he's definitely a changed person. He's definitely a changed person. And I just pray that God gives him the opportunity. And I know God, when, if when God is ready for him to come out, he's going to come out. And God knows his heart, you know? And he has his children. He has his children, his mom. Do you know that how much that means to him? He was struggling with addiction and still managed to run an empire and take care of his family. Yep, Winter. And I know he wants to be out of here. He doesn't want anything to happen to his mom and him not being on the outside to even help her. That's what I believe he's asking God for, that opportunity to be there for his mother as she was there for him. You know, that lady sacrificed so much. I don't care what nobody says, you know, how they dog her out and says she's the reason for this and that. She was being a mother and she did the best that she knew how to do, and she took care of her son. Her son is a success because of her sacrifices. But you know what? The numbers here will not be high because I'm not bashing the man. I'm not dogging him out. So the numbers are not going to be high. I'm not part of that mob mentality of tearing this man down when he's sincerely trying to make a change in his life. No, I'm going to be a champion and helping to pray and stand in the gap for him to make sure that he is very successful. I don't care what anybody thinks about me and me standing where I am. I'll stand alone. I believe that he is a changed man. So, and they did lie on her, Winter, so badly. Oh, okay. Y'all ready for the second half of our paperwork? Y'all ready for the second half of the paperwork? You guys ready? Please share this live. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you guys hit the like button. And thank you for all the people that came over from Sean's channel. I appreciate you guys. I am I am who I am. I am unapologetic and I will stand for a person that is trying to do the right thing. Because I already know how the justice system falls, how, only by the grace of God, some of us are able to get out of the situation that we find ourselves in. Sometimes it's not our fault, and sometimes it is our fault. But should we have to pay for it for the rest of our lives? Especially if nobody died. You know, especially if nobody dies. You didn't take anybody's life. You know, I believe God is a God of many chances, not just a second chance, of many chances. And I pray that the judge will stop being scared. Yeah, Tawana, man, my heart. When I tell you, when I was reading that letter, it's just like I can feel it. You know, I can feel it. I can feel his pain, and I know he never expected himself to allow his kids to go what he went through, not having a father. You know, he doesn't blame anybody but himself on all of this. Thank you, Tawana, for standing in agreement with me. We touch it and agreeing, and I believe God is going to work it out. Y'all make sure y'all say a prayer for him tonight. Make sure before you lay your head on that pillow of yours that you will say a prayer that God will give him the desire of his heart. And the desire for him is to be back with his children, to be back with his family, to be a better man, to help his community. And I want that for him. I want the best for him. And I told y'all a long time ago, money don't mean anything. Because look where he is. He had all that money. And what does he have now? He doesn't have anything except his family. Yeah, he might have a couple of dollars, but the most important thing right now to him is his family. He's not going back to try to build business. He's trying to go back so he could be with his children, his family, his mother. And I believe the work that God has for him in the latter part of his life is going to make him a greater man than what he was as a businessman. He talks about the different gangs and different people coming together in his class. Could you imagine the work that he would put out there? The solution that he has? I think it's going to be a great ending story for him. Yeah. So you guys are ready now? Stand in agreement with you, Miss Sylvia. Thank you, Winter. Yep, Aretha, family and freedom. That's it. Whew. Man, I tell you. Yeah, he has a little girl to look after. Yes, Lord, please move for Sean Combs. The angels are moving. Amen, Darnell. Amen. Oh, I believe God is going to answer the prayers. The prayers of a righteous availeth much. To God be the glory. And we're knocking on heaven's door and interceding for him on his behalf. Oh, okay. I think I'm ready now, y'all. I mean, my eyes are just like swollen and red and oh my God, my God, my God. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord. Thank you for your blessings. Thank you, Father. To God be the glory. All right, let's go ahead on and see what this sentencing memorandum is all about. Okay. Was written to the judge and regarding his, they responded to the government. Okay. And it's a reply to sentencing memorandum on behalf of Sean Combs. Hold on a second. I think before I do that, Mr. Steele wrote something. Hold on a second. I need to stop this for a second because Mr. Steele wrote something that I need to bring to you guys' attention. Hold on. Did I? I think I showed y'all this already, right? Did I show y'all this? I think I did already. Okay, never mind. Let me go back and show you the memorandum. Hey, Travis, did you get a chance to hear it? What we read? Oh, God, I'm in pain right now, y'all. I'm in pain. Jesus, help me. Help me. Help me. Help me. All right, here we go. And he wrote to all of these people the table of authority, introduction, the government draconian guideline calculation defies the law of factual record. The government seeks a severe sentencing based on the same argument that failed to persuade the jury about threats, force, and fraud and coercion. Government misinterpret the acquittal conduct amendment and disregard the constitutional law on acquitted conduct. There is no basis for applying the 2A3.1 rape cross reference. The vulnerability victim enhancement does not apply. There's no basis for obstruction enhancement. The government's remaining guidelines arguments are meritless. And I'm glad they put a lot of case law in there. And the reason why they didn't do anything with the not letting that young lady in, Mia, is because they didn't put any case law and the judge did not take into consideration what was written in the thing, but he did say that they can address her with the lies that she is told. So, okay, now we're gonna go ahead on and do this, okay? All right, y'all, let's go down. An introduction. All right, we're gonna go down introduction. You ready, guys? Y'all must give me E for effort because you remember I'm a person that don't read. I don't like to read. No, I do like to read. I just don't like to read in public because my reading is not all that great. Like these people trying to. Tiffany, listen. This is not the morning. This is not the afternoon for all the extra stuff today, Tiffany. I think you probably need to go to another channel. Probably need to go to another channel for real, for real. Some days I'm ready for the debates and stuff like that. Look at you again. Oh my God, Jackson, Travis. Thank you again for the cash app, y'all. Travis is spoiling me today, y'all. Thank you, Travis, for the cash app. Again, may God bless you 1,000-fold of what you have given me. Jack, you're the only one that's been blessing me today. Thank you, my dear. I appreciate you. At least you appreciate my hard work. You say you're not here for that? Okay. Because you came in, you know how you like to come in with all that nonsense. Because you know me, I'm petty just like you, Tiffany. I'm petty just like you. That's why I try to get Ann and Coco to help me out from being so petty. Because I will be petty. I haven't grown from that yet, from my pettiness. Yep, I'm old, but I am an old petty person. Intelligent with them say, hey, go seek some therapy. And this is the thing. The thing I don't understand about y'all. Y'all dislike me, but y'all always in my chat. I don't get it. I don't get it. Always in my chat. You know what they're trying to do, y'all? They're trying to get me off my game. They're trying to get me off my game, but it ain't working. It ain't worth telling a lie. It ain't worth making you cry. A woman who speaks her truth regardless of what others think is so beautiful. Thank you, Travis. How many letters so far? A whole bunch, Marcy. A whole bunch. It's too many to count. I think we're in the 80s, I think. I think we're in the 80s of the letters. 80 something. Because we was at 70 and 5 and we're in the 80s something. I don't know what it is. But all right, y'all ready? Let's get going, y'all. Let's get going because I don't want to be here all night reading. All right, introduction. As we have emphasized many times, the jury has spoken. The government presents its best evidence to 12 citizens to try to prove Sean Combs used threats, force, fraud, and coercion to compel his girlfriends to engage in freak-offs and hotel nights, and it failed. That is not, you know what? He did not use any of those things. Threats, force, coercion. No, he did not. They chose to do it with him because they said they didn't want him to get it from somebody else or move on. I mean, it's a choice. You don't have to do it, but that doesn't mean that the person has to stay with you. It's a choice that people have. If they want something and hey, you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. I'll just get it from somebody else. That's it. That's not coercion. That's not force. That's just the facts of life. If you don't like something, and I like something, and if you don't like doing, I'll just go do it by myself or go do it with somebody else. I'm talking about like say I like scary movies, right? And you don't like scary movies, but I want to go see a scary movie. I'll just go see a scary movie by myself. You ain't got to come. You know, it's just something like that, right? Okay. Coercion to compel his girlfriend to engage in freak-offs and hotel nights, and it failed. Mr. Combs now stands before the court to be sentenced so much less serious offenses. For so much less serious offenses. In fairness, if fairness, justice, and the U.S. Constitution mean anything, the jury's verdict should be respected. Mr. Combs should be sentenced for what he was convicted of: transporting consenting adults interstate to have sex and nothing more. Instead of accepting the verdict and advocating a reasonable sentence, the government has gone to extreme length to try to justify a draconian sentence, particularly for a 55-year-old man. Instead of addressing the conduct for which Mr. Combs was convicted, the government has devoted 161 pages to rehashing evidence rejected by the jury and concocting far-fetched legal arguments to try to jack up the guideline range to an absurd 360 life level, as if he had been convicted not only of the acquitted charges but also of the uncharged offenses. It is labeled as victim numerous individual who had nothing to do with the Mann Act charges, drenching up discredited witnesses like the woman called herself Mia. Y'all, his attorney be going in, and I know this is Mark's writing right here. Like the woman who called herself Mia, Dante Nash, Brianna Mongolan, and even Jordan Atkinson, a person whose allegations are so incredible that the government pulled her from the witness list mid-trial. And instead of putting forth more forth a reasonable guideline range or addressing where this case fits within the relevant sentencing data, the court directed the parties to provide. The government asked the court to treat it as like a sexual assault or rape case that was not and could not have been charged. It is not difficult to see what is going on here. The prosecutors know full well that the court will not actually adopt all of these unduly severe enhancement on baseless argument. But by taking their advocacy to the extreme, they hope to persuade the court to disregard Mr. Combs' position, split the baby. Y'all, isn't that what we watched earlier? They talk about split the baby, put it all high, and then they're gonna split into the middle. Didn't we watch that earlier? You guys, y'all in a advanced class, okay? I just want to tell you that. Y'all in advanced class. We already got that information for the live that we watched earlier, right? Split the baby. Okay. All right. Split the baby and adopt probation recommendation. That would be a grave mistake. Probation made clear its recommendation is based on the premises that there was force, fraud, and coercion here. Its recommendation is improperly based. In other words, on acquitted conduct. In light of the jury's acquittal, the longstanding DOJ policy and all the relevant sentencing data, any sentence exceeding a modest term along the lines of request by Mr. Cohn would be unreasonable and disproportionate to other Mann Act cases. We talked about that too, y'all. The government's advocacy in this case has gone way beyond zealous. It is indecent and deeply troubling. It violates the revert policy so famously articulated by Attorney General Robert Jackson over 85 years ago about the proper role of the federal prosecutor. He observed that because the prosecutor has more control over life, liberty, and reputation than any other person in America, these awesome powers must be tempered by the spirit of fair play and decency that should emanate the federal prosecutor. As he explained, while you were being diligent, strict, and vigorous in law enforcement, you can also afford to be just. Although the government technically loses its case, it has really won if justice has been done. Although the Okay, we did that part. Moreover, a sensitiveness in a fair play and the sportsmanship is prepared the is prepared perhaps I'm sorry is perhaps the best protection against the abuse of power. And the citizens' safety lies in the prosecutors who temper zeal with human kindness, who seeks truth and not victims, who serves the law and not fictional purposes, and who approaches his task with humility. The prosecutors have not lived up to these principles and apparently do not respect the unanimous verdict 12 New Yorkers rendered in this case. But unfortunately, the fate of Sean Combs is now in the court's hand. Like all human beings, Mr. Combs is flawed. He is the first to admit he has many serious mistakes. He has made many serious mistakes. And he has been working very hard to better himself and to make the most of his time behind bars. He respectfully submit that he deserved a chance to continue his rehabilitation outside the walls of a prison and asked the court to be merciful and afford him that opportunity. Mr. Cohn has already spilled much ink in submitting voluminous material that we hope will assist the court in fashioning a just sentence. We submit this reply brief solely to respond to specific argument in the government's brief as to the proper role of acquitted conduct at sentencing. Certain guidelines issues the government's sentence disparity arguments and the factual issues relate to Mr. Combs' treatment and time at MDC. Number one, the government draconian guidelines calculation defies the law and the factual record. The government seeks a severe sentence based on the same argument that failed to persuade the jury about threats, force, fraud, and coercion. Technical distinction aside, the government's argument boils down to a claim that this is not just a Mann Act case because Cassandra Ventura and Jane did not voluntarily travel to freak-offs and hotel nights. But regardless of the precise words used, force, fraud, and coercion, threats, manipulation, the government's argument for a draconian sentence for these transportation offenses are materially indistinguishable from the argument that failed to persuade the jury Mr. Combs was guilty of sex trafficking. At trial, the court instructed the jury that if it had to find that force, threats of force, fraud, or coercion, or any combination of such meaning would be used to cause the alleged victims to engage in a commercial sex act in order to convince Mr. Combs of sex trafficking. Transcript 8022. In defining these terms, the court instructed that coercion includes threats of serious harm, including both physical and non-physical types of harm, such as psychological, financial, or reputational harm. Transcript 8024. It also instructed that threats must be sufficient in kind or degree to overcome the will of an ordinary person having the same general station in life as that of the alleged victim, causing a reasonable belief that there was no reasonable choice except to engage in a commercial sex act as directed by defendant. Transcript 802425. Coercion could also be proved. The court instructed if the defendant engaged in a scheme, plan, or pattern intended to cause the alleged victim to believe that if he or she did not engage in a commercial sex act, he or she would suffer serious harm. Transcript 8025. The government repeatedly told the jury the evidence showed just that. Take just a few examples. The sex trafficking charge in this case are based on the defendant's illegal action over the course of his relationship with Cassie and Jane. Threats, drug, lies, manipulation, and violence. The illegal action that caused Cassie and Jane to have sex with paid escort in front of the defendant. The illegal action that made Cassie and Jane believe that they had no choice but to do the freak-offs in the hotel night even when they didn't want to. Transcript 7609 to 10. These charges are not about adults freely engaging in sexual preference of their choice. It's not about free choice at all. As you heard, both Cassie and Jane testify at many points throughout the relationship with the defendant, Cassie and Jane did not want to have sex with the escorts. Transcript 7610. He spent the entire flight with canes, holding Cassie captive and making her watch videos that he had recorded of Freak Off and threatening to release them. It's no surprise that when the plane landed in New York, the defendant demanded a freak off. Cassie complied. She didn't believe that she had a choice. Transcript 768485. Together with the control of the defendant's exercise over so many aspects of Cassie's life, her livelihood, her appearance, her home, the defendant's cohesive scheme ran through every part of Cassie's life. It made it so that Cassie believed that she would suffer serious harm if she didn't do what the defendant wanted her to do. Transcript 7689. And look, at the first year or two that might have not always been because of coercion or fraud. Sometime it was, but not always. But by the time he's paying Jane's rent in 2023, she is doing it out of obligation. Fear she would lose her home if she doesn't. You saw the text. She said it herself way back then. She felt she had no choice. That's coercion. Transcript 7937. He trained her not to fight back. No was never an option for Cassie. No could mean losing her career, her livelihood, her home, her physical safety. Those fears are not the kind of things that just slip someone's mind. Transcript 7938. This was not about their pleasure. It was about pleasing the defendant. He gave them drugs to keep them awake, compliant, and euphoric. He taught them to want. He taught them what to do in those rooms, trained them with himself first, and then with escort. And by the end, they knew if they didn't perform the way he wanted, there would be consequences. Transcript 7942. Sex trafficking does not require overcoming a no. It is about getting someone to say yes through illegal means. So when Jane said yes because she believed the defendant's lies, that was trafficking. When Jane said yes because she was afraid that she would lose her home if she didn't, that was trafficking. And when Jane performed oral sex on Antonio because the defendant had beaten her the same night, that was trafficking. Transcript 7944 and 45. The text messages the text message is crucial context to the defendant's mindset when he gets Jane on the plane with his lies. It's just going to be us, baby. We're good. We'll go shopping. We'll go to dinner. Just us. And when he's doing that, he's texting Paul Arthur and Bridget from Cowboys. He's lying to Jane to get another hotel night. And when he pulls the rug out from under her when she's midair, then is a complete act of sex trafficking. Transcript 7949. The only question that matters here is whether there was one. That is the only number you need to care about. One freak off, where the defendant knew that force, fraud, and coercion, or any combination thereof, was used to get Cassie and Jane to say yes. To say a yes. And of course, there was one. You know, you have many, many more than that. But that's all you need. Transcript 7945. The jury necessarily rejected these arguments, when it acquitted Mr. Cohn of the sex trafficking counts. Yes, in its sentencing submission, the government now makes the same exact argument to the court. Again, these are just a few examples. The defendant's use of force, fraud, and coercion are part and parcel of these encounters. Docket number 516 at 62. The evidence at trial showed that the flight back from Cannes, France, to New York following the defendant's violent assault of Ventura during the 2012 Cannes Film Festival. The defendant threatened Ventura with freak-off video she thought she had deleted and demanded that Ventura engage in a freak-off with male escort upon landing, and calling it an instance of coercion. Docket number 516 at 63. He ran a scheme for approximately 15 years that involved transporting Ventura, Jane, and escort across the country on dozens of occasions for his own sexual pleasure and gratification, and at the time involved coercion and even violence towards the victim. Docket number 516 at 77. The evidence at trial showed that this coercion took a variety of form, including force or threats of physical force, threats, and publicized freak-off videos, and control over Ventura's career and livelihood. Docket number 516 at 78. It was not until Jane was midair and the defendant texted Jane about the entertainment for a hotel night, despite his earlier promises. After Jane landed in New York City, the defendant and Jane had a hotel night that included Cabral Williams, an escort who traveled from Atlanta to New York instead of the alone time that the defendant had promised Jane. This incident of travel similarly demonstrate one, the defendant's defrauding of Jane in order to get her to travel to New York for a hotel night. Docket number 516 at 83 and 84. The defendant knew about these vulnerability of Ventura and Jane before he introduced them to these nights, and then used fraud and coercion to get them to continue to participate in them. Docket number 516 at 96. The defendant exerted control over Ventura and Jane and exploited their vulnerabilities through years-long abusive tactic, leaving both feeling as if participating in the defendant's multi-day sexual fantasies was their only option. Docket number 516 at 126. Ventura and Jane feared the potential consequences to not participating, the defendant taking away their homes and belongings, the defendant becoming physically violent, and the defendant making good on his threats and release blackmail material. The docket number 516 at 126. The defendant returned yet again to the history of the Mann Act, arguing that the government's sole focus should be prosecution of commercial perverser, I don't know how to say that, of prostitution, and the others who coerce women into sex. Defendant Memorandum 139. These principles are and remain the government's lodestar, and this case has always fit squarely into the rubrics. The offense here involves the defendant's use of force and coercion of Ventura and Jane. Docket number 516 at 139. The government's misinterpret the acquitted conduct amendment and disregard the constitutional law on acquitted conduct. Number one, that was B. Sorry. Number one, the Sentencing Commission adopted the addendum concerning acquitted conduct in response to decades of criticism from scores of federal jurists, including Supreme Court justices from across the ideological spectrum. The government is tone deaf to all of that and wants the court to ignore the acquittal and reduce the new guidelines to nullify. Its meritless argument. make a mockery of the new guidelines. See, I told you I had new guidelines. The new guideline and the constitutional and fairness principle that led its promulgation. I don't know. Yeah, I'm getting like tired. The guideline 9 for now provide the relevant conduct does not include conduct for which the defendant was criminally charged and acquitted in federal court. In other words, acquitted conduct is conduct that is used to prove or as applicable commentary explain underlines an acquitted charge. IDAPP Note 1. No other interpretation of the amendment makes any sense, and the government offers none that does. The record makes clear that here the acquitted conduct encompass most of the trial evidence. IG docket number 510 at 68 through 70. There is a narrow exception for the conduct that establishes in a whole or in part the instant offense of conviction, but it doesn't apply here. The Mann Act counts only require proof that Mr. Cohn, one, knowingly transported an individual to interstate commerce, two, with the intent that the individual engaged in prostitution. Transcript 8028, jury's charge. Accordingly, any evidence that does not prove either of these two narrow elements is acquitted conduct, not relevant conduct, which the court cannot consider when determining Mr. Cohn's guideline range. Number two, the government has no response to this simple and straightforward interpretation of the acquitted conduct amendment and the trial evidence. Instead, it strains to gut the amendment into interpreting the exception so broadly that it swallows the rule. According to the prosecution, nothing is acquitted conduct unless either one, the jury found in the defendant's favor on particular factual or mixed question using a special verdict form, or two, the factual and legal element of an acquitted count are identical to a particular guidelines enhancement that might otherwise apply. The government says none of the evidence that failed to prove the acquitted sex trafficking and RICO charge falls into these either category, and therefore all of it is fair game and can be used to more than double the offense level and increase the guideline range tenfold. This textual incoherent interpretation would read the acquittal conduct amendment out of the guidelines. It defies the amendment drafting history and the constitutional and fairness concern that led to its promulgation, and not to mention common sense and justice. The government's primary contention is that the various guideline enhancement is proposed are distinguished from any question that was submitted to the jury. ID at 42. It advances the various supposed technical distinction between the enhancement at issue and the elements of the acquitted counts. But these argument reduces to nothing more than hair splitting. At the end of the day, all these enhancements cannot be imposed without crediting the same evidence offense to prove the sex trafficking and RICO conspiracy count that the jury rejected. See infra ad 18 through 37. Thus, contrary to government's argument at 43, 44, 44, and 6, this case is exactly like McClinton versus United States and other cases where the judge dramatically increased the defendant's guideline range and ultimate sentence based on the acquitted conduct. The issue is not whether the acquitted conduct and the guideline enhancements are identical. The justice of McClinton and the numerous other judges are concerned more fundamentally with whether the basic conduct underlying an acquitted charges therefore used to enhance the defendant's sentence. In McClinton, for example, the defendant was acquitted of using a firearm during and in relations to a crime of violence causing death in violation of 18 USC 924 J1. At sentencing, however, the government asked the court to apply a murder cross reference pursuant to USSG 2B3.1C and 2A1.1. The language of this cross reference and the elements of the 924J charge of which the defendant was acquitted were not identical, and there was no special verdict to determine which element the jury may have found proven or not. As the sentencing judge explained, the jury acquitted Mr. McClinton of causing the victim's death in relations to the robbery of the victim, period, but not considered in charges of murder. The judge applied the cross reference, which resulted in a drastic increase in Mr. McClinton's offense level and sentencing range. See Appendix D-E for the petition of the Centurion. When Mr. McClinton's case reached the Supreme Court, however, 4 justices and Justice Sotomayor in one statement, and Justice Kavanaugh and Gorsuch and Barrett in a separate statement all agree that the constitutional and fairness issue raised by Mr. McClinton's petition were troubling and strongly suggest that they would have been worth taking up the review had the Sentencing Commission not announced it would be addressing these issues. And they did so in a case that very clear did not satisfy the government's contra statutory element guidelines definition match test. Moreover, it was concern raised by the 4 justices, primarily Justice Sotomayor, that led the commission to amend the guidelines to exclude acquitted conduct for the following year. See Appendix C, Supplement Amended 826. Unsurprisingly, the amendment itself nowhere suggests there is any kind of exact match requirement between the acquitted charges and the guideline provision. The commission broadly excluded any conduct for which the defendant was criminally charged and acquitted in the federal court for the definition of relevant conduct. Nothing about this language remotely suggests that the amendment is limited only to issues specifically put before the jury on a special verdict form, or that any otherwise on all fours with the pertinent guideline enhancement. The government invented this limitation without any guides in the text of the amendment. Let's see. And the defiance of the basis and unexceptional rule that the court must give effect to the clear meaning of a text as written. And then another case here. The clearest example of why the government's analysis is incorrect may be its comparison between the elements of the sex trafficking statute and the guideline definition for the fraud coercion enhancement. The government claims the acquittal of the sex trafficking counts don't matter because the statute requires threat, force, fraud, and coercion to be used to cause a person to engage in a commercial sex act. 18 USC 1591A, whereas the enhancement only requires that offense involve fraud or coercion because the statute has a mens rea requirement, whereas the enhancement does not, and because coercion, threats, or force may be defined slightly differently in different contexts for the statute and enhancement. Discussing distinction between leadership enhancement and RICO statute. None of those distinctions make any particular difference, and the government doesn't even try to explain why they would. The government's stingy interpretation of the Acquitted Conduct Amendment also conflicts with the amendment drafting history. As the Commission explained when it promulgated, I don't know what I'm doing now, the amendment, it was responding to the persistent concern for many within the criminal justice system and robust debate over the several years, including from a number of jurists, such as current and past Supreme Court justices, who have urged reconsideration of acquitted conduct sentencing because of various constitutional and fairness issues. These issues do not turn on a hyper-technical question about whether or not elements of the acquitted charges do or don't map on precisely on the definition to the definition of guideline provision. Rather, they are broader concern about fundamental principles like the perceived fairness and of the criminal justice system, the historical role of the jury, and the erosion of the jury trial right, the public perception that justice has is being done, and a special weight and inviolate status long to acquittal. According to acquittal. Indeed, as explained in Mr. Cohn's sentencing memorandum at 66, the Commission rejected the government's proposal to narrow the acquitted conduct amendment in a similar manner by excluding any conduct that relates to the offense of conviction and instead limit the exception to the conduct that establishes the offense of conviction. The government completely ignores the Commission's choice of craft to a very narrow, carved out from acquitted conduct, while proclaiming that the exception includes any conduct relevant to the convicted count. Docket 516 at 545 and through 47. The government offers no authority for this argument. It simply repeats again and again that the exception includes conduct establishes in the whole or in part a conviction charge, as if in part language dramatically expand the scope of the exception. Emphasis added. In part language can't possibly do the work the government wants it to. That language simply demonstrate that were conduct established or helps to establish one or more elements of the convicted count, even if it's not by itself sufficient to establish any single elements or the elements in it can be considered relevant conduct even if it's also established or help establish elements of a count of which the defendant was acquitted. Either way, to fit within the exception, the acquitted conduct must still prove or help prove the elements of the convicted counts. Regardless, most of the evidence the government rely on would not satisfy its own overboard interpretation of the exception, its relevancy test. Had the Mann Act counts ever been charged on their own, the vast majority of government's evidence would have been excluded under Rule of Evidence 401, and certainly Rule 403. This includes, for example, the evidence of violence against Miss Ventura in the Intercontinental Hotel video, or Jane's testimony about the alleged violence towards her in June 2024. Two incidents in which there was no interstate travel. All the other testimony about the alleged violence from several other witnesses. Generally, see generally docket number 486 at 45 through 50, docket number 499 at 20 through 22. None of this evidence would have come in during a standalone Mann Act trial. As the relevant count guidelines contemporary now explain, there may be cases in which certain conduct underlines both an acquittal charge and the instance offense of conviction. In in such cases, the court is in the best position to determine whether such overlap in conduct establishes the offense of conviction. Probation appears to have concluded that this was such a case and relied on this com- commentary when it determined that much of the evidence in this case was relevant rather than acquitted conduct. But the court knows from sitting through the trial there was a very little conduct that directly overlaps with the narrow Mann Act counts. See transcript 8028 Mann Act charge, and a smaller amount still that actually establishes those counts. Mr. Cohn's interpretation of the acquitted conduct amendment is the only one that comports with the amendment text and its drafting history. Moreover, to the extent there is any doubt, it would need to be resolved in favor of Mr. Combs, not the government. Snyder versus United States, and then collecting cases standing for the ancient rule of lenity. Number three, the government repeatedly argued that the court cannot make factual inferences about what the jury did or did not find with its verdict. The government is dead wrong. As Justice Sotomayor explained in McClinton, the fact that even though the jury's specific reason for the acquittal will typically be unknown, the jury has formally and finally determined that the defendant will not be held criminally culpable for the conduct at issue. So far as the criminal justice system is concerned, the defendant has been set free and judicially discharged from the accusation, released from a charge or suspicion of guilt. Indeed, the Supreme Court has repeatedly held that courts not only must draw precisely these type of factual conclusion based on the general jury verdicts. That is how for example, double jeopardy collateral estoppel analysis work. The court must look at the entire record, including the pleadings, the jury charge, and the evidence, and decide what the jury necessarily decided. And it says, moreover, the jury's verdict was completely rational. The verdict were not at all inconsistent. The government offers no response to this case law or analysis of the logic of the verdict. Instead repeatedly fallbacks on two cases, United States versus Watts, which the government cited 20 times, the United States versus Martinez. Watts and the cases relied on it are not dispositive for the numerous reasons explained in Mr. Combs' opening brief at 74, 75, 86 to 88, none of which the government has any response to. In Martinez, meanwhile, the district court judge made factual inferences directly at the odds with the jury's guilty verdict on a series of rapes by expressly disagreeing with those verdicts and underlying testimony established that these sexual encounters were not consensual. And the Second Circuit thus ruled that the sentencing judge had made an independent factual conclusion contrary to the guilty verdicts. By contrast, Mr. Combs is asking the court to do precisely the opposite, making the findings entirely consistent with and necessarily implicate the jury's verdict. At Martinez itself, reiterate the jury's verdict is entitled to a strong difference in our criminal justice system. The court cannot pick and choose which verdict it agrees with and must accept all juries' verdicts because doing otherwise fails to accord during respect to the jury's constitutional established role. And indeed, a jury speaks only through its verdict. And the jury's verdict spoke loud and clear when it acquitted Combs of everything but the extremely specific behavior establishing the government's two fallback transportation count. All of this is acquitted conduct, and none of it is relevant conduct for guidelines purposes. Number four, at one point, the government suggests a jury acquittal on the sex trafficking count couldn't have been for many reasons other than rejection of the defendant's force, fraud, or coercion, including, for example, a failure to prove that the defendant intended for his force, fraud, and coercion to cause the victim to engage in the commercial sex act. That makes no sense because the existence of fraud and coercion was bound up with Mr. Combs' mental state. The jury was instructed that threats, fraud, and coercion were objective determination as to whether Mr. Combs has acted knowingly or recklessly to cause Miss Ventura or Jane to engage in sex acts against their will. The government's theories of the case was that he had, and it argues as much to the jury. In this context, there was no scenario in which the jury could have found Mr. Combs engaged in fraud or coercion without also having the requisite mental state. This was not a case, for example, where the evidence showed or the government argued that the defendant or didn't know fraud or coercion was being used to cause the alleged victim to engage in unwanted sex. And if that is the kind of case the government thinks this is, it should not be asking for a draconian sentence. Obviously, if fraud or coercion was deployed by the defendant was unaware of that, he would not be culpable of that behavior. In any event, the government misstated the mens rea standard, and for the sex trafficking counts, the jury was charged on two mental state for sex trafficking knowledge, i.e., purpose and intent, and reckless disregard. The government accordingly relied on the second broader mental state, arguing in closing that Mr. Combs was deliberately indifferent to the fact that if considered in a reasonable manner would indicate the highest probability that threats of force, fraud, and coercion, or any combination of those things would be used to cause the victim to engage in a commercial sex act. By its verdict, however, the jury necessarily rejected both that broader theory and the narrower intent theory. Number five, the government ignored all the fairness concern. It does not even try to explain how sentencing Mr. Combs is essence as if he had been convicted of charges on which the jury found him not guilty would be the least bit fair. United States versus Brown. The government also ignores the chorus of the federal and state jurists who have raised Fifth and Sixth Amendment concern about acquitted conduct sentencing. To the extent the government addresses Mr. Combs' argument under the Constitution provision, it does so only to conclusory and non-responsive fashion. For example, the government point to the lowered burden of proof when responding to the issue preclusion component of the double jeopardy clause. But the point was that the double jeopardy clause established as noted above, that the court can and indeed must make factual inferences about particular issues submitted to the jury, even when the previous judgment of acquittal was based upon a general verdict, as is usually the case. Okay. Yeah, this is a lot of reading. I'm tired of reading this. Okay. It's more. Oh, Jesus. Y'all, can we stop now? Let me see what else I can find. The meats and potatoes of this. Let's read the finally. Finally, the call bears on resemblance of the illustrative example of constructive conduct set forth in a guideline commentary, including committing perjury, produces false document during an official proceeding, or destroying evidence, among many other examples. Yet the court, what is this? Oh, this is another case law. All right, y'all, I'm tired of reading. I don't feel like reading the rest of this, y'all. Let me see what the end. What did they say at the end? Let's see what the end say. Conclusion. For the foregoing reason, and those in our opening brief, a sentence no more than 14 months imprisonment is the only reasonable and just sentence. Okay. That's what we need to read, just this conclusion. All right. Okay, what's the questions? Okay, she said Sylvia will answer the question. Sylvia, where did you get the documents from? I got it from Pacers. That's where I get it from. You know, you purchase the stuff from Pacers. I got this from Pacers. What else you want to know? She's reading and want to answer questions. Okay. What's the other question? Questions was because without Diddy knowing force her. Okay. Okay. Is there anything else? Sounds like to me they could use it. Yes, we can. Well, we can't. What else was it? Sounds like to me they can't use it. Oh, y'all, I'm so tired. Take a break, sister. Travis, and Travis, y'all, I do not like to read, but you know what? I did it for you. They can't use the charges. They not supposed to, Mama. They not supposed to, but they doing whatever they want to. And if the defense don't say anything, they'll let it slide. But this defense team is on it on everything. In fear of being booted. Sylvia, have you ever watched the movie Rose based on Janice? No, I have never read it. Intelligent hoodlum, thank you. Oh, he gave me a compliment, y'all, on my reading, and you know what? I be getting dogged out. People say, "Oh, she don't know how to read," and I'd be like, "Yep, you're right. I don't know how to read." They be dogging me out, saying, "Oh my God, why is she reading?" Whatever. Sorry, guys. Yeah, they be dogging me out, y'all. They be dogging me. And that's why I be having a slick mouth sometimes. Really have slick mouth. Because people be like bringing it out on me. Thank you, y'all. Thank you. So what y'all think is gonna happen tomorrow? Oh, that letter, if it does to the judge what it did to me today. Okay. I was just listening to Willie He said Diddy made the biggest mistake before sentencing. What's that? What's the biggest mistake? But you know, these people be doing okay, I forgot what I was gonna say. Somebody just posted on my stuff just now. I think some people got mental issues, y'all. There are some people on social media who has undiagnosed mental issues. I think so, y'all. I really do. Undiagnosed mental issue, and they all over the internet, y'all. All over the internet. There's some crazy folks on the internet. I just read a message on my thing. Some people crazy, y'all. Some people crazy. They're lunatics. Some people crazy. They're lunatics. I'm serious. Intelligent hoodlum. There's some people just crazy. But honestly, I feel he deserved to be heard and fight for his freedom. And the name of it is The Rose. Okay. Don't put that lady name in here, mama. Please don't put that lady name in here. Because then they be, you know, she got some diehard folks that be coming up in here and be trying to come at me. But people like crazy. I think they do. There's a lot of mental issue people, and I mean, like, these folks are crazy, y'all. They are crazy. But thank you guys for being here. We shall see what happens tomorrow. Keep a prayer. Keep the prayer up for him. Let your will be done, Father. Let thy will be done. Not our will. Let your will be done. Let your will be done. Y'all, I'm telling you, my body is hurting. Don't get old. I'm just gonna tell y'all, don't get old. Do not get old. I promise you, don't get old. Because all kinds of pain be coming through this body. This body, man, it just be like, I tell you. Don't get old, people. Young folks, stay young. And make sure y'all exercise and keep moving that body of yours. Hey, Lady L, my darling. Lady L, I just want to apologize. We're going to have to change the time from 4 in the morning to 5 because I fell asleep a couple of times, y'all, on y'all. And I'm so ashamed. But I was listening with my eyes closed, and all of a sudden, I could feel myself like snoring. Can we change it to 5 o'clock? Because I can't do the 4 o'clock. It's a sacrifice, oh Lord. We still got some days left. We're going to be on day number 5 tomorrow. Okay, y'all. You did too? You fell asleep too, Ronnie? We be so tired. You fell asleep too? Everybody fell asleep. So it's the people that come into replay that sees us sleeping in there. They send me messages that be like, okay, y'all. I heard the first prayer. I was there for the first prayer, and then after that, I was like, "What?" I didn't even know the thing had stopped. But let's see what we got. Anything else on here? Let me see what else we have in here. Hold on, y'all. Let's see if anything else came through. Oh, look like something else came through. Hold on, y'all. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Mr. Steele put something in here. Hold on, y'all. Let's see. Oh, that's what's the name's letter. Mr. Steele was in charge of the letters because he's the one putting these letters in. But that's it. Yes, free puff. I came in around 5 something. Oh, you came in around 5, Serena. I mean, I was tired. Serena, we missed you this morning. I just want to tell you, I missed you. Okay, let's hear what Willie D said. The biggest mistake he's. Hold on. Let's see what he said.
Is sentencing on tomorrow, October 3rd. Diddy wrote a mercy letter to the judge asking for forgiveness and apologizing to Cassie and others he hurt. Diddy made one big mistake.
Why is that a
in
mistake?
letter. I am going to read some excerpts from that letter. You tell me if you can spot the gigantic mistake.
You know, you see how people just.
Around 5 p.m., Diddy's legal team submitted a letter that was penned by him. The 4-page letter is filled with Diddy seemingly taking accountability for his actions. It starts with Diddy saying, "I want to apologize and say how sincerely sorry I am for all the hurt and pain that I have caused others by my conduct. I take full responsibility and accountability for my past wrongs. This has been the hardest 2 years of my life, and I have no one to blame for my current reality and situation but myself." He goes on to say he's owning up to his mistakes and specifically addresses the physical abuse to Cassie. Diddy says the viral hotel video has played over and over in his head for 13 months. He says he was dead wrong for putting his hands on the woman he loved. He even goes on to acknowledge
What's wrong with
that
that?
he's asking for forgiveness. He wouldn't be able to give someone else if they did the same thing to his daughters. As it continues, he says he thought he was providing for Jane Doe and her child, but after hearing her testimony, he now sees he hurt her. Diddy says he lost his way in the mix of drugs, excess, and selfishness, but has been humbled by his consequences. There have been some days I thought I would be better off dead. The old me died in jail, and a new version of me was reborn. Prison will change you or kill you. I choose to live, he wrote. He then begs the judge for mercy, not only for his favor, but for that of his children as well. The letter includes words about lessons on God from his grandmother, the class Diddy has taught in prison, Kim Porter's passing, and the jail conditions.
So where's the mistake
In
at?
closing, Diddy asked the judge for another chance and stated, "I can't change the past, but I can change the future. I know that God put me here to transform me."
So what's wrong with that?
Y'all know how we do it. Give me a thumbs up if you believe him. Thumbs up if you believe Diddy is a transformed man. Thumbs down if you say, nah, man, can't teach an old dog new tricks. I don't know, fam, different strokes for different folks. Some people can go to jail for 5 or 6 months and be a changed person forever and ever. Some people can go to jail for 20, 30 years, get out, and go back and do the exact same thing they did to get themselves in the position in the first place. And then there's others who will avoid jail altogether because of the threat of jail, just the threat of going to jail, because they know what it entails. They will get on the straight
Then shut up. Then shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. It is really deep. Why do people just like? Why do people? Because I think they're talking about themselves. I think they're talking about themselves. But he wants content, y'all. He just want content. You know, everybody do this content stuff. They make things more dramatic and more hateful so they can get the likes and views and stuff like that. When you try to be very caring and thoughtful about a person's situation, you're not going to get the views. But if you want to be dramatic and extra and negative, yeah, you get the views. And that's what he's doing it for. That's what he's doing it for.
For dealing with judicial stuff,
And now he's an expert now.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what his level,
So then how the hell are you going to talk about it if you don't know? So how do you know you made a mistake?
I know one thing. All you got to do is go through it one time for most people, and that would be enough, because jail, especially prison.
And how do you know he's not that type of person that one time is enough for him?
Place for a human being. It is made for animals, because that's exactly how they treat you, especially on the state level. Man, you come through prison in Houston, Texas, or in Harris County.
He just wants he wants to.
Telling the judge straight up that he don't deserve to be free.
No, he didn't.
He's telling the judge he really don't deserve to be forgiven, because he's asking the judge to do something for him that he wouldn't do for anybody else. That's problematic.
No, you sound stupid. Let me get off. Sounds very stupid on that one. I do think that he should stay quiet. I don't think so. Trust me, if his lawyers allowed it, I don't think so. I think he shows remorse, and a lot of time they want to see some remorse, some change, some accountability, some responsibility, and that helps out a lot. That's a part of repentance. It's a part of repentance, taking accountability. And that takes a lot. That's strong. So yes, taking accountability for whatever it is goes a long way. Yep, it surely does. And I watch a lot of different cases. And I watch even that guy Cash Out. Did y'all see his he blamed other people, the victim. He blamed the victim. That's why the judge gave it to him. He's like, you gonna get life without the possibility of parole. Without the possibility of parole. They want to see some remorse from people. Humbling yourself. Ask the mercy of the court, you know? But anyway, my darlings, I have to go now. I don't think there's anything going to come out for tonight. I think everything is going. I think we have enough for tonight, and we can go to bed now. We can go to bed. I don't think there's going to be anything else that's coming up as far as any documents, unless the state decide they want to throw something in there. But I think that's it. So we shall see what happens tomorrow. You guys stay safe. Get some good rest, and I'll see you tomorrow. And I have to deal with my case too, and I'll tell you how the outcome of my situation goes. Okay, love you guys. May the Lord watch between me and thee while we're absent one from another. Mama, why are you laughing at me? What did I do? What did I do? What did I do, Mama? The great I think I'm gonna do my other. God's got me tomorrow, Serena. Yes, all we can do is pray. And God's got him. I mean, whatever it is, God will sustain him, will hold him up. Lady L, what time? We're going to do this 5 o'clock tomorrow. 5 o'clock tomorrow, y'all. Are we in it for tomorrow at 5? Tomorrow at 5, right? But I'm still not going to bed yet. 5 o'clock? Okay, 5 o'clock. We're changing it. We're all in agreement. 5 o'clock tomorrow. Okay? 5 a.m., not 4. So don't be looking for me at 4, 5 a.m. I see you got wonderful people tomorrow. Okay, Ronnie. 5 o'clock. All right. Good night, everybody. Other channel, I'll see you guys in a few minutes. I need to talk to y'all just to say hi. All right. Love you guys. Bye. And also, I have to get my stuff together for those calls. We're gonna be listening to these calls because I reach out to the young man's mom, and we'll see if she reached back out to me. Talk to y'all later. Bye.
Thank you for watching the infamous Sylvia channel, where laughter and fun make up our panel. Together we build this digital spree. We appreciate you and our growing family. With mods by our side and chat flowing free in this online space. It's just you and me. We laugh until tears roll down like the rain. In this virtual world, you ease all my pains. We're a family, not just a show. Every click and comment makes us grow. Mods and chat, keeping the vibe so right. Together we shine like stars in the night. We cherish the moments, the highs and lows, from the latest gossip to stories untold. You're more than a viewer, you're part of the crew in this space of ours. It's all because of you. This digital world where emotion is shared, every post and reaction showing we care. The love is real in this virtual domain. With every sign, enjoys what we'll gain. We're a family, not just a show. Every click and comment makes us grow. Mods and chat, keeping the vibe so right. Together we shine like stars in the night. We're a family, not just a show. Every click and comment makes us grow. Mods and chat, keeping the vibe so right. Together we shine like stars in the night. This digital world where emotion is shared, every post and reaction showing we care. The love is real in this virtual domain. With Every sign enjoys what we'll gain. We're a family, not just a show. Every click and comment makes us grow. Mars and chat, keeping the vibe so right. Together we shine like stars in the night.